And we're talking about, 50th anniversary of hip hop, the mothership of hip hop, the culture that we understand and love and know, but all of hip hop. And we now want to kind of lean into the Christian hip hop. I believe that there should be or should have been maybe an awareness that as a Christian, you can serve the Lord and rep Christ. And it doesn't have to necessarily be where it's cutting people down or creating some kind of embarrassment, but you can do it in such a way where it's more humane and more subtle. What I mean is, when you have this separation, like this is Christian hip hop, then it's like, okay, well, this is like gospel and black gospel. Like, no, it's all the gospel. Like, you know what I mean? And so we want to talk a little bit about our own experiences about Christian hip hop, and maybe you listening have different history, different understanding of it. But I know as a pastor now serving in ministry now 34 years, man, it was a powerful tool to resonate with Christian hip hop, to be able to feed into the soul of young people who I'm serving, man, and yet it was a void of what was relevant. Like cats weren't really bringing it to the degree where young people were like, oh man, I'm gonna get to that. I mean, D-Boy Rodriguez, considered to be one of the first Christian MCs who died as a missionary, as a mercenary per se, for the cause of the gospel. But for Christian hip hop, he left a concert. He was rapping outside. Some gang dude shot him by his car. Stephen Wiley considered to be like Stephen Wiley was considered to be like the Curtis Blow of Christian hip hop back in the 90s, man. He came out with a song called Bible Break. And it was just as cheesy as the name I'm saying to you right now. Christian record labels didn't know what to do with nothing Christian hip hop. They didn't know what to do with it. They were like, they just started as a fad, as a trend, and we're going to jump on it. I was even in conversation with Star Song label that Toby Mack was involved in, and they asked me to come to kind of help them with urban stuff. I said, I'm not going to do this, but I'll give you some ideas of what to do. They just didn't know, because what they wanted was what they had in contemporary Christian music, but it wasn't going to happen in hip hop. And they were trying to blend the two. There was even a friend of mine who was on CCM, Christian Contemporary Music Board, and he said they would listen to music, even Christian hip hop, and if it didn't have what they call J per M, Jesus per minute or Jesus per rotation, JPR, on the rotation of the CD, the more time you said Jesus, the higher ranking that particular song got or that group got. Well, hip hop and even Christian hip hop wasn't going to be Jesus every third word or second verse. And so a lot of music wasn't understood and didn't get played. But gradually over time, they became artists who were bold enough to say, this is what's going on in my world, and this is what I want to communicate to for the Lord on other folks. But when was the first time y'all got connected to like the Christian hip hop?
Yeah, I want to say for me, now I know we talked about DC Talk, but it was probably Carmen. Carmen was probably the first one.
Right.
That I heard rapping. This old white dude. I don't know what type of music it was, but he was rapping.
And he would have these drama videos. These videos would be drama.
Yeah.
All a play.
Yeah, so I want to say Carmen, DC Talk, of course T-Bone. And I remember the D-Boy Rodriguez stuff. I didn't listen to his music like that, but I do remember T-Bone always talking about D-Boy like that. And then of course Gospel Gangsters.
O double G's, yes. Yeah. What about you, Jay?
My stories always feel so dramatic, but like
his mama took him to another concert.
I know my mama took me to a concert. Jesus himself gave me a front row ticket. No, I'm just playing. No, this time, man, I really gave my life to the Lord in college at Tuskegee University as a part of this ministry called Campus Outreach. And what's crazy, this is why I say it sounds kind of scripted, but y'all, this wasn't scripted, but this is the way it go. Me and my guy Misho, who everybody now knows as Show Baraka, he's a Christian hip hop MC. We actually went to Tuskegee together, and we were in a hip hop crew called 35th Element, which is regular. We went. Neither one of us was Christians. I was a breaker and graph writer. He was an MC, and he got saved like the year before, maybe a semester before I did, and because his brother was a pastor, and I mean not a pastor, but a campus director at a ministry in Texas, Plumline, where Lecrae and all them guys got saved, or whatever. Sorry. And Lecrae and all them guys got saved. And so ultimately what happened was I gave my life to the Lord at this event called the Jesus Rally. And it was a student-led event where you just got to come and listen to like artists, and then also they had workshops and stuff. But I came and I heard this whack rapper. I mean, he was so whack, and I'm not gonna say his name because I keep calling him whack. But like, he was a Christian rapper. He was the first person I ever heard like Christian rapping. I did not think he was good, but I envied the fact that he got to do that because I grew up in church, and it was like I had to separate my hip hop world from like who I pretended to be when I went to church.
Right.
But this was the first time I ever saw somebody like fully being they self. Like he was hip hop to the core, all the thing, and rapping about Jesus. And I was like, yo, there's something about that. And I think that kind of drew me. But when I went back to my room, this is where it gets dramatic. Show called my dorm room and said, hey man, I heard you gave your life to the Lord. I'm like, yeah, man. He said, hey, I know what you're going through. And what I had been doing in the room was like thinking that I had to let go of hip hop completely. Like I had a Lil Kim poster on my wall. I had like, all this all this hip hop music and all that. And I'm thinking, God, what am I supposed to do? Hip hop is my world. And if I can't do that, like I want you, but you got to replace it. And so he just says, I know what you're going through, and I want you to know that God got your back. Come down to my room right now. I came down, went one floor down. I sat on his bed, and he pressed play on the tape deck. And it was, what's this dude thing? Looking like a Christian Wu-Tang. My crew hang loosely and we tie tight like a shoestring. And it was Fanatic with the cross movement. And I jumped up on my bed. I said, what is this? And he was like, I know. He was like, wow, God got you, bro. And like, I was such a Wu-Tang head and like Christian, like, he said that. I'm like, Wu-Tang looking like a Christian Wu-Tang. And then he played the rest of it,
Wu-Tang, right.
Man, and I just start bawling. Like I'm just crying, like, because it was the first time in my life where I felt like God like actually answered a prayer. Like I prayed upstairs, God, what am I supposed to do this? I don't know. And then Show calls me. I go downstairs and he hit play, and it's like, bam, the Lord spoke to me, and I found out right then and there was a whole hip hop underground world that loved Jesus. And man, I was sold ever since. So yeah.
No doubt. I mean, as a pastor, man, I'm always I started ministry in 87, man, and I'm like, I gotta find a way. And I was one of those cats like burn your music, throw your music away.
Yeah.
Because that was a safe thing to say and to do in light of the churches and the perspective. But it wasn't, as a parent, it wasn't until, I'm recognizing my kids ain't throwing none away. They up here going crazy. I began to be like, okay, let me just help my own kids and family to try to think critical about the music they're listening to as it pertains to the life that they want to live. And that began to be, even more represented as they got older, but in the context of using that as a platform, even in the life of young people that I was serving. But it was a dearth. It was a void of stuff that was out there that was valid. Cross movement came through, and it wasn't until, like then you had the tunnel rats, you had cats who were battle rapping, you know what I mean? There was some cats out there, man, that was just, DOC, Disciples of Christ, you had ETW, Dynamic Twin, D2. So they was doing anything, 40 Days and 40 Nights, classic album. But man, it's one of those kind of things that if you're not going to evolve, grow, mature, and rap and rhyme about things that are relevant in the context of the genre that you're serving or that you're in, you're going to stay back. In Christian hip hop, I think stayed safe for so long that it created, you're not relevant to us. You know what I mean?